Pokepants.
Michael here.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
This is so bad. 2014 is coming to an end soon and we'll be entering a new year. So I thought it'd be appropriate to take a look back at all the years that have gone by. In the Pokemon world, that is. In case you are unaware, the Pokemon games do not occur at the same time. There's actually a timeline of events in the Pokemon world that's been figured out, or at least it was figured out until we got some new information somewhat recently. This new information suggests that there's not just one timeline of the Pokemon world. In fact, there's multiple alternate timelines. Before I talk about the alternate timelines though, I want to talk about the original one. MetroTechUniverse made a great video following the Pokemon world's timeline that I linked to down in the description, but I'll give you a synopsis. First off, we know that the events of Generations 1 and 3 occur at the same time. This is confirmed by the interactions of Kanto and Hoenn in the Sebi Islands part of Fire Red and Leaf Green. Red, Blue, and Yellow are essentially the same games as Fire Red and Leaf Green, just updated. 3 years later, the events of Generations 2 and 4 occur. We know that the storyline in Johto is a sequel to the storyline in Kanto because Team Rocket's making a comeback and characters from the Kanto games have new updated roles, but we also know that the storyline in Johto occurs at the same time as the storyline in Sinnoh. This is due to the Red Gyarados references in the Sinnoh games, but also due to the interactions with Jasmine involving Sinnoh contests, both in Heart Gold and Soul Silver and Platinum. Her Steelix Rusty is both used in Sinnoh contests and offered to the Johto protagonist to be traded. The events of Black and White occur an unknown amount of time after the events of Gen 2 and 4. We know this because Cynthia reminisces about the battle with Giratina, and there's a former Rocket grunt in Unova who is found in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, vowing to quit Team Rocket, return to his home country, and start over. He has a kid in Black and White, so time had to have passed. Black 2 and White 2 occur 2 years after Black and White, since they are direct sequels, and because they talk about Black and White's protagonists going off on adventures and Team Plasma returning. But what about X and Y? Well, we get the answer from Toshinobu Matsuyama, the game scenario director for most of the main series games. In May of 2014, he posted this tweet, confirming the fan-discovered timeline while simultaneously confirming that X and Y occurred at the same time as Black 2 and White 2. So it looked like we had a pretty set-in-stone timeline. But then Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came out and screwed everything up. I should warn you, I'm about to go into some Delta episode spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, then do what you wish to avoid spoiling. Spoilage. Spoilation? I don't know. In the Delta episode, an asteroid is on its way to destroy the planet. Professor Cosmo comes up with a method to teleport the asteroid far away by using a warp hole created from infinity energy, the energy found when a mega evolution occurs. However, the character Zinnia is adamant that this cannot occur. She claims that there's another world, another Hoenn region, where evolution took a different path and Mega Evolution does not exist. Because they don't have Mega Evolution or the infinity energy provided by it, they wouldn't have the technology to stop the asteroid and would be doomed. She then proceeds to piss off a lot of people in that room. But anyways, Zinnia threw us a huge curveball with that speech. Originally, remakes were treated as essentially the same games as their predecessors in regards to the timeline. But with Zinnia's speech, this means that Ruby and Sapphire occur in a completely different universe, dimension, timeline, whatever from their remakes. So, what does this mean for the timeline of the games? Well, it means there's more than one. Everything got real Zelda real quick, didn't it? So from the information we have so far, it appears there's at least 2 different timelines currently. The first one is essentially the same as the original timeline, but with Mega Evolution. We could call this timeline the Mega Timeline, or the Infinity Timeline due to the presence of infinity energy. So far, the only pieces of this timeline we have are X and Y, Oris, and Pokemon Origins, since Origins involved Mega Evolution. We know that Oris and Origins occur at the same time, because we already know that the Kanto and Hoenn events occurred simultaneously. We know that Oris occurs before X and Y, due to Mr. Bonding coming to be and deciding to travel the world in Oris, and then actually traveling the world in X and Y. By the way, if you haven't seen that scene in Oris yet, it is hands down the weirdest f***ing thing I've ever seen in a Pokemon game. Just so unnerving. I don't know why they did it. It was just, yeah. The other timeline, which we could call the non-Mega or original timeline, is essentially the same as before, except with events occurring in Kalos that do not involve Mega Evolution and where the war 3,000 years ago never happened. The ultimate weapon could never have been constructed due to the lack of infinity energy, and the Tower of Mastery likely looks pretty different, if it still exists at all. Some people believe that the original games, Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, and Crystal, are their own timelines separate from their remakes, and that it's a world with less advanced technology and less Pokemon knowledge, considering that Professor Elm thought Pokemon eggs were a new and surprising thing. I personally consider the remakes, other than Oris, to be essentially the same as their predecessors, and therefore believe there are only two timelines. But, believe what you will. Wow, heavy stuff there, huh? Who knew Pokemon could get so dimension and time trippy? Well, I hope to at least cleared some of it up for you. What do you think of these alternate timelines? Would you want to see remakes of the remakes that occur in the Mega Timeline? Let me know in the comments below! Alright, that's all I have for now. So until next time, Pokefans. Gotta catch them all.